How to make a good berimbau. How do you get a stick and some raw materials to turn into an instrument? The berimbau. Well, you start off with a stick. This is not the greatest example because you can see it's not ideal. You need a lot of finishing work to be straight, but you want something straight as possible and the right length for the sound that you want to make. This is one that I made from a tree branch in my backyard from a crepe myrtle tree. You can see it's fairly straight, and I finished it off a little bit with some hand tools and sanded it down. So the first thing you'll need is a good stick like this. You'll also need some wire. The tradition is to use wire that's from an old bicycle tire or car tire that has wire in it, but you can also use piano wire. And then you'll need a gourd. For example, the one I was just playing a minute ago, it will be hollowed out, and you can do the hollowing out if you find a dried gourd somewhere for sale. I can't really recommend small pumpkins, but I've done a small pumpkin. You can see just a simple Halloween pumpkin. Hollowed it out, dried it out, and I had to put a lot of finishing on it because otherwise it's very thin. It's not as thick a shell as the other type, but in any case, a gourd is better. This acts as what makes the sound louder for you. And so basically you'll take all that, you'll finish your stick off. When you get your stick to a level that you're ready to use it, you want to kind of file down the end, or if you have a little knife you can dig in. You can see here it's digging about maybe 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch, and this is what's going to give you the place to anchor your wire on. And so the wire, you'll loop it around there, and you'll use some pliers or something to tighten it like this on the one end. Now on the other end, you can use something like a patch of leather. I used some felt from an old hat, and then a thumbtack I stuck in there. My other berimbau has some leather on it. And that's going to be where you loop the wire over the top to tighten or loosen your berimbau. So you take the wire that you had attached down here, and it goes all the way to the end, and you loop it over the top, and you do a series of loops until at the bottom you can tie it off. You'll need to have some rope or heavy string where again you use the wire to loop around the rope to make it a secure hold, and then you can use that cord anytime you're ready to string the bow up. So it's like that. Anytime you're ready to string it up, you'll loop it in. This part goes through one leg. So look at something like this. And then I'll pull up here to tighten it with my hand. That's how I'll tighten it. That's how you can get your leverage to tighten it. And whenever you're done playing, it's best to loosen it down just so you don't wear out the wire as quickly. It's pretty low tone. I've never been able to get this one that tight, but for today it's all right. You also have a second cord with your resonator there, so you loop that over the top, and bingo, you got your instrument. Needs to be a little tighter than that, but oh well. You also need some sticks to play it with. This is actually from a crepe myrtle tree, but any sort of moderately heavy stick will do. And then a rock or a coin for your other hand to change the tones. Try the coin. Alright. And then a shaker if you have one. That goes in your right hand. Hold just like the pencil. Grip it down at the end. Get all that wrist action. And that's basically how you make a berimbau.